Is Jon Stewart going to run for president? And if he did, would he be a good candidate? Now, that is a question that I get 5 times a week. Usually on live streams I do on YouTube, but occasionally people will email me and ask me about Jon Stewart too. So I figured, you know what? Let's dedicate a video to breaking down this idea. And yes, I know we are 1 week into the Trump presidency, so talking about 2028 feels a very far way off, and it is, but I am sort of fascinated by the interest in Stewart. So, this is not, by the way, the first time. Let's start here with a little history. This is not the first time people have floated the idea of Jon Stewart running for president. In 2022, there was a bit of a Stewart boomlet when we weren't sure what the field was going to look like. We weren't sure if Joe Biden was going to run again, et cetera, et cetera. And Stewart just tweeted out, no thank you. So he hasn't shown a ton of interest in running for president. But here's why I think people are intrigued by him. So what Donald Trump did, without question, is show that someone with, let's call it, unorthodox resume can get elected president. And in fact, really, if we're being honest, Donald Trump is an entertainer, reality TV star, really. I mean, that's what he really is, who got elected president. People also point to comedian Volodymyr Zelensky, who is now the president of Ukraine, that these things can happen, that the line between sort of entertainment and politician, or entertainment in news, or entertainment in serious person is totally blurred. And that anyone from any background, including entertainment, can now be president of the United States. So Stewart has, admittedly, a very interesting background, right? And this is a guy who made The Daily Show on Comedy Central, must-watch TV for lots and lots of Americans. I always say, not for everyone, okay? Not everyone was watching The Daily Show back in the Jon Stewart days, but he was a speak truth to power guy, a what the hell is going on here guy. Mostly aimed at Republicans, mostly aimed at Trump, but not exclusively. And he has also done things since leaving The Daily Show. He now hosts once a week, but since leaving The Daily Show, that I think have intrigued people. He became the most, I would say, the most eloquent and most high-profile spokesperson to make sure first responders at the 9/11 site in New York and the Pentagon got the medical care they needed after being exposed to all sorts of chemicals and that sort of thing. He's testified before Congress. He's not just a guy who tells jokes, in short. He's a guy who has developed a big public profile of, if I had to put it in sort of a box, I guess I would say speaking truth to power, right? A guy who was critical of Democrats for nominating Joe Biden at his age, who was critical of the campaign Kamala Harris ran, who isn't predictable in terms of where his support would come from. So I get all of that. And I do think I did a bunch of searching around and digging before I made this video. And what I would say is it appears to me that the interest in Stewart for president is heavy on YouTube and heavy on Reddit. Which is something. It's the Cillizza for president is not big on Reddit or YouTube, which is something, but I'm always hesitant to say, oh, this is a big national movement, because there's a petition on change.org, which is a petition to try to get Jon Stewart to run for president 2028. Obviously not binding or anything, but a petition. A lot of times this is how some of this stuff boils up from the grassroots upwards. Only 644 people have signed it. Okay, so it's not like there's a groundswell for Jon Stewart to run for president. Now, that said, I do think we are in an age where a Jon Stewart candidacy, a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson candidacy, a Mark Cuban candidacy in 2028 or beyond, I don't think we can or should rule these sorts of things out because, as I remind people all the time, Donald Trump, reality television star, has been elected president not once, but twice. So I think we are in a place where news and entertainment have sort of merged. There are no lanes anymore. You know, it used to be, remember, people would always say, stay in your lane. that's really not a thing anymore. I mean, people still say it on the internet, but it's not really a thing as much anymore, right? Now it feels like we're living in this culture where you can talk about sports, you can offer thoughts on sports or politics or entertainment or music, and it doesn't really matter what your background is as long as people are willing to listen to it, right? As long as people are willing to pay attention to what you say, you've got some level of power. And there is no question that Jon Stewart is a voice that people are willing to pay attention to what he says. No question. The thing about it is, I know everyone says, well, if Donald Trump can do it, anyone can do it. Sort of, but, I actually think that underplays Trump's skills. It is not easy to go from being a comedian, even one who does talk seriously about issues, and follows the news obviously closely and has been an eloquent spokesman like Stewart for the 9/11 first responders, to being someone who can win a party primary and then get elected president. Like, there's a reason that usually the people who run and win are people who have run before. Trump is an obvious exception to this, and maybe everything has changed post-Trump. We'll see. But I do think running for office, and particularly president, is harder than you might think. I think that just being a good spokesperson and being good on TV helps. No question. No question. It is a performance-based politics that we have now, but I don't think it's determinative. So I don't think you can just say, well, Jon Stewart is good on The Daily Show, and therefore he'd be good as a candidate. But I understand the interest, right? Because it's like, if you're a Democrat, we need, to fight fire with fire. We need to say, they got their entertainer, let's go with our entertainer. And I don't think it's Jon Stewart, but I do think someone from what we would describe as the entertainment world may well run for the presidential nomination in 2028, and if not 2028, 2032. Because I think Trump has kind of broken the seal on that. He's shown it can be done. And remember, success in politics and in life spawns imitators. So I think there will be other people. I don't know if it's Jon Stewart. Again, the best predictor of running for office, again, is having run for office before or shown an interest in having run for office. So Donald Trump, people don't remember this anymore, but Donald Trump for like 20 years talked about running for president. Now, everyone just thought it was a joke. Everyone thought it was just a branding opportunity, and it might well have been. But he was always interested in politics. He always loved politics. He always saw himself in his mind's eye as someone who could run and win for president. Is that Jon Stewart? I honestly don't know. I don't think so based on his public comments. I don't think he is the guy. But I think there is room for someone in that space. So I guess I say, I don't think it's Jon Stewart because I don't know that he's interested in doing that. He's never shown an interest in doing it. But is there room for a celebrity/entertainer to run for president in 2028 for Democrats? Absolutely, yes. Whether it's Stewart, which I doubt, or Mark Cuban, which I think is more likely, or Dwayne Johnson, which could happen. I do think there is a lane there. And again, with celebrity, politician, newsmaker, influencer, they're all in one big pot now. We don't differentiate. I think that opens the door for more people who come from a background like Donald Trump than who come from a more traditional, we're the governor or the senator or a House member. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, 4 things. 1, subscribe to this channel. We are rapidly approaching 60,000 subscribers before I even make my thank you for being a 50,000 subscribers video, which I am getting to. Number 2, you can like this video. Just give it a thumbs up. Number 3, you can comment on this video. Do it for the algorithm. And number 4, you can tell 10 of your best and closest friends about this channel, what I am doing, what I am building. We're doing about 10 to 12 videos a week now. So I'm making tons of content. Subscribe so that you get updated when new content goes live, and take good care.